Okay, welcome everybody to lesson 7. Today we're going to discuss ledger lines. In the title here are just two alternative spellings for that in English. However, you can use whichever one you please, just to be aware of what they may be spelled like. So to start, we're just going to do a little refresher of the note names in music. So when ascending in pitch, the note names go in the order A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And when descending in pitch, the order of note names is simply the same, however backwards. So G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So what are ledger lines? Ledger lines are the short lines that can be seen above, below, or printed through the note head of those that are expressed outside the standard 5 lines that form part of the musical staff. In order to help you to better understand this definition, we're going to look at some examples. So here we have the treble clef with some notes descending in pitch into ranges that require ledger lines. So to start, we can use our rhyme, which we learned from lesson 1 of this series, to identify the first note on the staff. The rhyme for the notes on the lines of the treble clef is, "Every good boy deserves fruit." And so here is the note E. We know that notes are written on lines and spaces. And we can also see here that we are descending in pitch, so that informs us as to the order of the note names. So as E is on a line, the note directly below that must be on a space, and it is descending in pitch, therefore it must be a D. Following a space, we have a line. One line below D must be a C, and this is our first ledger line. As you can see, it is a small line that must be used to express a note that exceeds the 5 lines that form part of the staff. As this note is on a line, the next note must be on a space just below the line, descending in pitch from C, therefore it must be a B. This is the ledger line that informs us of this. The first ledger line below the treble clef is a C. Therefore, one space below C, descending in pitch, is a B. Following a space, we have a note on a line. One down from B must be A. The first ledger line we know is C. One space below C must be a B. And following a space is a note on a line. One line down from B must be the note A. The following note descending in pitch is a G. Again, the first ledger line we know is C. The space below C is a B. Following a space, we must have another ledger line expressing that on which the note A would be placed. And we know that the note directly below A, descending in pitch, must be a G. And now we have the notes ascending in pitch in the treble clef into ranges that require ledger lines. Again, we can use our rhyme to inform us of the first note. Every good boy deserves fruit. F being the last letter of the rhyme, therefore informing us that the note F is the top line of the treble clef. After a line, a note must be written on a space. Now we are ascending in pitch, therefore after F is a G. Following a space is a line, again ascending in pitch. That informs us that this note must be an A. The arrow here pointing to our first ledger line. This is the first ledger line above the treble clef. We know that the top line is an F. Ascending in pitch must be a G. As G is on a space, the next note must be on a line. And it is one space up from G informing us that it is an A. After a line, a note is written on a space. One note up from A, ascending in pitch, is a B. This is the ledger line on which the note A would be written, and as it is sitting just above A, we know that it must be a B. On the next example, the first ledger line we know is where A is situated. The next space is where B would be, as it is just above A, and the line just above B must be a C. In the final example, again we have the line on which A is written, the space in which the note B would be placed. Following a space, we always have another line. The line just above B must be a C, and just above the line on which C is written, as we are ascending in pitch, must be a D. And now moving on to the bass clef. Here we have the notes firstly ascending in pitch into ranges that require ledger lines. The first note is on the top line of the 5 lines that form part of the staff, therefore we can use our rhyme for notes of the lines of the bass clef. That rhyme is green buses drive fast always, always A, therefore we know that this note is A. One space up from A, as we are ascending in pitch, must be a B. After a space we have a note on a line. One line up from B must be a C. In the next example, we know that this ledger line is where C would be situated. Therefore, the space above C, ascending in pitch, must be a D. In the next example, we know that the first ledger line above the bass clef staff is a C. The space just above C is where D would be. And after a space, we have a line which informs us that this is an E. In the final example in this musical excerpt, we have the line in which C would be printed, followed by the space in which D would be printed. After a space, we have a line ascending in pitch, therefore this note is an E. And the space just above E, ascending in pitch, must be an F. And finally, we have the bass clef notes descending in pitch. Again, the first note here is on the first line of the bass clef. Therefore, we can use our rhyme to identify it. Green buses drive fast always, green G, informing us that this note is G. We are now descending in pitch. As you can see visually, the notes are getting lower. Following a line, a note must be written on a space. Descending in pitch from G informs us that this must be an F. Following a space, we have a note written on a line, which must be the note E, as we are descending in pitch. In the next example, we know that this first ledger line below the bass clef is an E, and as this is written just below that line, we are descending in pitch, therefore this note must be a D. In the next example, we have the ledger line on which E is written. The space below this ledger line we know must be a D, as we are descending in pitch. Following a space, a note must be written on another ledger line just below D, which would make it a C. And in the final example here, we know that the second ledger line below the bass clef is a C. And as this note is just below C, descending in pitch means that it must be A, B. Okay, so that is it for lesson 7. That was just a small introduction into ledger lines, what they are, how they work, and how to read music notation that may use them. If you have any questions, as always, do let me know, and I'll see you guys next week.